Global Ministries, the humanitarian arm of the United Methodist Church, is known for its work for more than 100 countries. But now its relief arm is stepping up here in the United States, from wildfire recovery in California to rebuilding after Hurricane Helene right here in Georgia. Let's talk more about how the mission is changing and what it means for families right here with Global Ministries General Secretary Roland Fernandes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, what's the single largest way Global Ministries mission has shifted in the past few months as the government aid has been cut back a little bit here?
You know, we have been trying to continue to support our biblical mandate to welcome the stranger, feed the hungry, and care for the sick. And with all the shifts that have happened in foreign aid, there's been estimated over the next 5 years up to 14 million people, could die because of that, and many of them children. And so with many cuts, it's up to the private and faith-based organizations to support this need. And so Global Ministries is focusing, along with our sister agency, Higher Education and Ministry, on 5 expanded areas of focus. That's agriculture and food security, education and ministry, global health, migration, and peace and justice work.
How have you guys been doing that? Like, obviously, the government is starting to shut back, but you guys are now saying you're going to start amping up. How does that work?
I want to say, of course, that we are not going to be able to do what is going to be lost with the government shutting down the aid, but we are working primarily with healthcare organizations, colleges and universities, and struggling communities to ensure people across the world have access. And so we do it primarily by working with our partners, both here in the United States and around the world as well.
Yeah. How are you guys protecting partners on the ground while delivering food and basic supplies in conflict zones?
Well, of course, the big conflict zone, of course, is at this moment the situation in Gaza, where we're working through our partners. And so obviously it's a very different situation there, but we continue to work through our partners wherever possible. In some places, it's not possible to get there because of conflict, but as far as possible, we work in as much as we can with partners who have access in these different areas.
Yeah. Talk to me about when disaster strikes, how do you guys mobilize? How do you set all that up?
Well, so it depends on which part of the world we are in. So in the United States, we work primarily through a network of United Methodist conferences, so that regional bodies to work with, they have disaster coordinators there. And in the international sphere, we work with different partners on the ground. We also have disaster management offices in a few parts in the world where we work with them locally in those contexts as well.
Yeah. What separates you guys from what people may expect from like FEMA or a Red Cross organization?
Well, we are a church-based organization. Our income comes from our members of our churches, and we also work a lot through our church partners and, of course, with others as well. But that's the big difference is, of course, FEMA is government-funded money. Ours all comes from United Methodist Church membership, who are really giving to the work that we do in response to many of these disasters and other humanitarian crises.
Yeah. How long do you guys stay involved? Like, for example, when we talk about a disaster that strikes or whatever, the headlines start to fade away. How long do you guys stay in there, and when do you say it's done for a community? What does that look like?
Obviously, there's no specific timeline for each particular case, but we do stay there for a while. For example, this week marks the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene, and Umpqua volunteers are still assisting residents in Western North Carolina and Georgia as they rebuild after that devastating hurricane. So I think so there's no timeline, but we stay well after most of these disasters are out of the news. Yeah. In some other places internationally, we've stayed for years to help with the rebuilding efforts.
You mentioned Helene is coming up on a year now. In fact, this week, it's Friday, as a matter of fact, a year when Helene hit. Are you guys still down there, still working in that particular area, especially in South Georgia?
We do have Umpqua volunteers currently in Western North Carolina and also in Georgia helping rebuild after the hurricane.
What does that look like now for you guys?
Well, it's hopefully it's there's a lot of progress that's happened, but there's still a lot more to be done. It's the devastation was pretty significant, as you know. So it's still an ongoing process, and we'll continue to be there as long as we can.
Yeah, yeah. You said you get your monies from members. Are outsiders able to give to the cause?
Yes, outsiders are able to give as well, through umcmission.org. We have a lot of people who support United Methodist Committee on Relief, and I work at Global Ministries, through who are not members of the church, because again, they appreciate the work that's being done. I also will say that we also work with everyone when we respond to a disaster, even though the money does come from United Methodist members. We do work with everybody because obviously humanitarian crisis affects everyone, not just people of a particular faith.
Yeah, Mr. Fernandes, I don't know if you've heard this, but most people, when disaster strikes, you get a lot of inquiries about giving money, and people want to know where that money goes to. Could you look at our viewers right now and tell them if they give, where the money goes to?
Well, the money goes to where it's most needed. And so, we work with partners both in the United States, as I said, in almost all the states through our disaster response coordinators and around the world as well. And we also have, strong accountability systems to make sure that the money that is given is used for the purpose that it is given for and comply with all the different compliance and other requirements that we have. So there's clear transparency in what we do. And we're really glad that we are supported by so many and look forward to others supporting us as well.
Roland Fernandes, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for what you do for our community.